Okay, this is the pre-lab video for the inertial balance. We're going to try and set this guy up right here and record some data for several things here, including a couple of non-skid pads here. This one will go underneath the pan that we're going to clamp to the desk. This one will help wrap up our different masses so that they stay put when they're vibrating back and forth in the inertial balance. This is the inertial balance. It's a couple of steel slats that will vibrate back and forth. We call those oscillations or cycles. Let's get that clamp to the table. We're going to use a C-clamp. You probably only need maybe about half of the opening exposed right now. This little tray right here is secured. Make that real tight. Once it gets pretty close, you have a little bit of, once you've got it mostly tightened, you've got some room to make small adjustments, square it up, and then do the final tightening. That non-skid pad gives you a little bit of cushion, and it also, of course, keeps this thing from moving. So it's very solid here as this thing bounces back and forth. So what we're going to do is we're going to put different masses onto the pan and then allow this to vibrate back and forth. We're going to, if you look at your data table here, you're going to do the empty pan, but the empty pan is going to also have this non-skid pad and the Velcro as part of it, because that will be there with the other masses, so we want to start with that as well. We're then going to add some weight, and more weight. That data we'll use to create a graph later on. And we'll also do an unknown mass. And you're not supposed to know the mass of it right now, so don't find the mass of it until you've had a chance to create your graph. Essentially, the graph is going to be used to calibrate your scale. And so that's what we're going to do. All right. So we're going to start with the empty pan. And all you need to do here is get the little mat in there, and then take this Velcro and bring it around so it's secure, and let it vibrate. Notice how fast it vibrates. What you're being asked to do here is decide on how many cycles you're going to count as a group. So it could be 5, 10, 15, 20. 3 times. You count the oscillations. Then you're going to add some weight. Now before you add the weight, you can mass these things. This will be in the scale over here will be in the center of the lab table. I put it over here right now for the video. But each one of these has, they're close in mass, but they're not all the same, so make sure you record what the mass is. This one, for example, is 298.5 grams. And then we're going to wrap this up. And it doesn't need to be real neat when you wrap it up, but it's going to help us secure this to the bed of the pan without it shifting. It might be a good idea to just push it to one side and then get a good wrap on that and do a test there. And this does not need to swing wildly. So just a small deviation, amplitude would be fine. And then you can time it. You can probably start the swinging and then time it for as many times as you decided. So keep the number of cycles the same for all of them, just for the sake of consistency. Time that, do that 3 trials. Use your phone, by the way, as a timer. So, pull your phone out and use the stopwatch feature on that to get 3. You could have multiple timers and take an average, or if you have 3 timers, you could throw out the high and the low and keep the middle. So, you do that with 1.
You do that with 2, you mask the 2 of them. Now you can wrap those 2 up and secure it to the pan. And send that one vibrating. And then you can wrap 3 of these up. Now there's not enough weights for all groups to do this all at the same time, but you can figure it out. We'll just share. Get all 3 of them on there and secure it with the Velcro nice and tight, and then get that one going back and forth, okay?
And then once you've done all of those, you're then going to do an unknown. Now I've got several variations for the unknowns. We've got this small little disc with some blue duct tape. Got another disc here. We've got kind of a sand-filled donut-like thing. And we've got this U-shaped orange thing. These are all unknown masses, and we'll use those for one. So this one's pretty easy to wrap up. I'll demonstrate with this one.
So we want to get it secured again. So wrap that up, wrap that nice and tight, and then do the same counting thing that you did before. So
once you've collected the data, again, remember you're doing this 3 times over. 1, 2, 3 for an empty pan. 1, 2, 3 for the first mass, the second mass, the third mass. 1, 2, 3 for the unknown mass. And then complete the table doing some calculations. Once you're done, let's remove everything. So we will undo the clamp. That's enough to get it loose.